The First Book of Christ for Atheists, available on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Instagram, or you may purchase it in book form from Amazon for $20. Chapter 7 is Growing Up in the Gallagher Family. My family was a typical community member from one day to the next, unless a circumstance would come up where kindness or assistance was needed. "Why would you help those people?" my mother would say. What have they ever done for us?" Father would respond, "Because they need help." As a young man in quiet conversation with my mother, she admitted that she didn't believe in God. She was kind and loving, but she reserved her care for her family only. And for us, she would go overboard. No matter how much trouble I would get into, she always took my side. Even my dad's family were not welcome. She would call them a bunch of Irish drunks, and as I grew older, I found out why. Because they were a bunch of Irish drunks. They weren't all like that, but it only took a few to move from a party into a Donnybrook. As this story is being told about my evolvement, both spiritually and mentally, let's put time in perspective. Born in 1948, the world, its values, the laws, and attitudes changed along the way. If I were to seek public office or seek public leadership role, there's a good chance that those who sought to dislodge me would bring up my past to have me disgraced. I think of the two Supreme Court Justices, Brent Kavanaugh and Clarence Thomas, whose moral integrity was brought into play upon their nomination. In both cases, the accusers brought up stories that were probably true, but denied by these men, and with little proof, both men were given the role of two of the highest positions of power in the United States. Would it be wrong to think that by being what they were, that they couldn't evolve into what they become? It is my conviction that we all evolve and hopefully become better as life and experiences allow us to improve. With what I will disclose, I can assure you, I will not be running for public office. Corinthians 14:33-35. St. Paul states, "As in all the congregations of the Lord's people, women should remain silent in churches. They are not allowed to speak, but must be in submission, as the law says. If they want to inquire about something, they should ask their own husbands at home, for it is disgraceful for a woman to speak in the church." While in Gaul, St. Paul wrote this in Ephesians 4:3-5, 1.2-21:32. "The head of the household is the man. The only way this will change is if humankind defies the ancients and thinks for themselves. Nothing terrifies weak, insecure men like intelligent, proud, and successful women. Think of the religions and societies that are led by these kinds of men. There are plenty of them. While the Old Testament is full of belittlement of women, this attitude towards women continued in the New Testament. What if St. Paul had spoken to us in this millennium like this? Would he lose his position as a leader in the early church? In societies like ours, where women have gradually won the right to equality, they have proven themselves to be equal to men. You must remember that we were made in God's image. Therefore, we were given the gift to think, to study, to progress, and to improve what is around us and follow what is in our conscience. I think of how progressive the Persians were in the 16th century and how regressive the Iranians are today. It is mostly because of leadership and who takes the helm. I have witnessed through my lifetime how leadership has attempted to take a country in a certain direction, no matter how many millions of lives it cost. From Hitler to Stalin to Mao Zedong, Putin to Netanyahu, there would be none of their atrocities had they followed Christ's way of living. Getting immorality strictly from the writings of the ancients and being told it is the word of God even though they are writings from our ancestors, depends on you having blind faith. It works for millions, but I see evil in following all the Bible's writings. Women, homosexuals, the tribe of Ham, it's Africans, can all be held down and persecuted based upon the good book. The Africans are from the tribe of Ham, condemned by the Creator to be hewers of wood and drawers of water for the other Israeli tribes. If you want to believe this, you are probably not from the tribe of Ham. If I were, I would find this statement insulting and unacceptable. Apparently, the white South Africans thought it to be legitimate enough to create apartheid and keep the black Africans down. I mentioned in confession once that Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his son to God is unacceptable and barbaric to me. Although confession was not the place to bring this up, it certainly riled up the priest who generously provided me with ample penance that day. Blessed are those that don't see and yet believe. They have more faith than myself, but I will pray for those that find my doubting sinful, because I believe that they need more prayers than I do. An explanation such as in Abraham's time it was customary to sacrifice children. That may be, but a story like that doesn't belong in my Bible. One of the most enjoyable authors that I have had the privilege to read is author unknown, as many of their writings are inspirational. In the writings on Desiderata, I keep a framed copy in my art room garage, where I occasionally read a passage from this philosophical essay as I get into and out of my car. Desiderata. Go passively amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even to the dull and ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself to others, you will become vain or bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let us not blind ourselves to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune. But do not distress yourself with dark imagings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here, and whether it is not clear to you, no doubt, the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be, and whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful. Strive to be happy. I find this essay inspirational and thought-provoking, except with the part that says, avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. This is the only part where I disagree, as loud and aggressive people should be given the same respect and consideration as the rest of us. After all, they were born with a personality that is theirs alone, and we shouldn't avoid them just because they're obnoxious. If by nature you are loud and aggressive persons, why should we be guided away from you? Blowhards should be treated with tolerance, in my opinion.